Hey, hi everyone. Good evening, and you're welcome to the preview of the 2023 Absa Kip Keino Classics. My name is Yomi Omagweja, and I have a guest to discuss some of the events in Kenya and what to expect tomorrow at the Kip Keino Classics in Nairobi with me. Um, his name is Daniel Wahome. Daniel, did I pronounce it very well? You're welcome.
Yeah, you got that right.
Good. My Swahili is not the best, so I guess. So
But
tomorrow is another edition of the World Athletics Continental Tall Gold event. This time around in Africa, and this is move now from Botswana to Kenya. What should the rest of the world be expecting in Kenya?
well, I've got to say that they should expect, I will say, some very explosive athletics this weekend, and tomorrow is going to be huge. Given some of the fields that we have got here, you've got world champion Anderson Peters in the men's javelin. That's just one of them. Um, think of the hammer throw women. Anita Voracek is back here. She won the event last year. She had that one throw that was the world's best. You've got Muzala Samukonga, the teen sensation from Zambia. He's going to be running in the 400 meters against Emmanuel Korir. Samukonga has done a 43.91. Emmanuel Korir is the third fastest Kenyan ever. So when you get down to the sprints, that's where it gets huge. You've got TT Terry, you've got Zoe Hobbs, who's going to be running. So, and I know we'll be speaking about the withdrawal of Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce later.
Yeah.
For those in South Africa, Prudence Sekodiso is going to be coming. She won last year against Commonwealth Games champion Mary Mora. Just about a second was there. So the hammer throw men, Wojciech Nowicki is going to be here. The 200 meters, you can think, just think of names like Fan Boule, Kyrie King, Isaac Makwala. So it's going to be one exciting one. The 200 women, Shannon Ray, Shakari, Richardson. It's only that Aminatu Seni is not back this year. The 100 meters men, that's going to be the showstopper, the last event of the day.
Yeah, so like I actually have the timetable here on the schedule. So you have the national events that start at 10 a.m., but the international broadcast start at 4 p.m. So
Yes.
yeah, so say the long jump, the shot put, javelin throw, and
So,
then the car parade. What's that about?
aha. Now, if I just mention the national events, the ones that start at 10 a.m., that is 0700 GMT, are the long jump and the shot puts. They involve only Kenyan athletes. And the reason that this event have been included is to diversify Kenya's ability within the field events. This has been something weak for Kenya, best known for the middle and long distance running. So with this event, then what is it that these athletes can do to help improve their mark? Because the good thing is that they get ranking points because of the nature of the meeting. It's a continental to a goal meeting, the Absa Kikeno Classic. So that gives them an interesting outlook to it. The javelin, which is one, it's a discretionary event, which means that athletes from outside, Kenya can get invited. So that's why we've got Anderson Peters. Now, the car parade is going to come in as what is the main start of the event. So there's going to be a soft start um, at 12:20. Just that is just before the javelin throw. That is after the long jump and the shot put. And we're going to have three cars with athletes who will ride. So I will not mention who the athletes are going to be because I already have that list of those who are going to be in the car parade. So there will be three cars, and the car that's going to be used is a car that has been produced in Kenya 100%. So the manufacturers of the car have offered three cars for athletes. And then the fourth car is going to have an artist who's known as Major. So Major will be behind, will be in the last car, and they will take an anti-clockwise uh,
Okay.
lap around the track. And so there's going to be a performance. The athletes will get their bouquets of flowers, but the cars won't stop. Only the artist, Measure, will stop and drop some of his tracks. They're in Swahili. He's well known in Kenya for his, Swahili form. It's a genre of music that is known as genge, so that's what he performs. So
Okay.
he's going to be performing one track in the car, and we expect another one there. So that's how it's going to start.
Oh,
Then
okay.
we head to the 10 meters.
So the people should expect a full house tomorrow then,
So that's
a
the
full stadium.
yeah. So that's going to be yeah, at the stadium. We expect a full stadium tomorrow. It will be criminal if we don't get 40,000 people inside that stadium. Can hold 60.
Yeah, and also we'll talk to about Moyala later, and it's promised something very exciting tomorrow. If the condition is perfect, then we might see the African record in 100 meters gold tomorrow.
Yeah.
so, so that's what he said. Um, but before we get to that, let's just take out the breaking news last night, where Shelly-Ann Fraser pulled out of the 100 meters. Um,
Mhm.
they said she sustained that injury during the training on Thursday, and she had to pull out of the race. But I also understood that the Athletics Kenya is trying to get Shakari to drop to the 100 um, to give that also event a boost. How true is that, Daniel?
Well, with a late, yeah, with a late withdrawal is something that caught everyone by surprise last night when Elias Makori um, did his article for the Nation, and he gave the details that Shelly-Ann, she landed. For different reasons, she didn't go to the Golden Grand Prix in Botswana, but she landed in Nairobi. She landed in Nairobi on Tuesday, and that was Wednesday. Yes, after the Laureus Awards. So everyone was very happy that he got the Sportswoman of the Year competing at the Kip Keino Classic. But when she spoke about the aggravated injury and having to travel to Italy, where she could get specialized treatment, and given that the doctor who was to attend to her had a very tight schedule, so a flight was quickly scrambled and she was able to get a flight out via Cairo. So that was a very huge blow for the Stars, for the organizers, because signing up another athlete at short notice, a local athlete at that, um, if because if I basically take a look at the field in the women's 100 and just go through it, um, these are the times that these women have. You've got Tonisha Terry. She's got a 10, she's a 10.82, and this season she's clocked 11.05. Zoe Hobbs of New Zealand, 10.97. She's That's her personal best also. She's clocked that. So, and the other one would be Basant, Hamida Basant of Egypt, an 11.09 runner. So that is a real competition. So for the middle lane, you would have somebody with a huge pedigree. So it would be easier for Athletics Kenya to get a Kenyan athlete to do the 200 meters, fill in that lane that Shakari will leave. and she does the 100 meters. And taking a look at, I was at the stadium today, spent a good time up there. I was getting ready for the stadium announcer job for tomorrow, and the entire and you could see that she was still working hard around the 200. So it's all down to how they agree with the management to see if they can move. Uh,
Someone else there.
some yeah to move if they can get somebody else. Getting a lot of publicity
Yeah.
for you to
We
do it's
actually
a huge,
have the
big one.
yeah, we actually have the a clip, from a video posted on Twitter by Eric Njuru. I think it's your colleague journalist from the Star, um,
Yes.
interviewing the president of Athletics Kenya, um, talking about the same issue. I'll just take that in a short break and then I'll come back to you.
Okay.
Well, it depends on what somebody likes, because you cannot force somebody. You've got to be willing to do it. So we hope that that will happen.
Have you tried to talk to her about that?
Yes, yeah, and they are considering some of those things. But as I said, you cannot force somebody.
Okay. Thank you very much, President. Okay.
Well, it was we felt shocked about it, and we're really sorry about what happened to her. We really wish that she was here to compete tomorrow because the Kenyans were waiting for to see her. And of course we saw her last year competing, and she did extremely well. And we also saw that she really loves Kenya. She really loves the athletes of Kenya here. And so we wish her well. We wish her a quick recovery. Some of these injuries do happen. It's very unfortunate that it has happened here. And so really we wish her quick recovery, and we hope that we'll see her next year.
Yeah. So that's the president of Athletics Kenya, Jackson Tuwe, talking about the discussions they've been having behind the scene to try and persuade some of the athletes to drop down to the 100 meters. Basically, the American star, Shakari Richardson. So Daniel, we don't know if that will happen yet or not, right?
From the latest information I have, I do not know if that is going to happen. But it would be great to see Shakari go down because the other option that they may have from the 200-meter field, just taking a look at what they have entered, what would they would have to either go for Gina Bass of the Gambia, that's one athlete
Yeah.
they would be taking a look at, and maybe Shannon Ray of the US. So those are the two athletes they'll be looking at,
To
because
fill to
yeah,
complete the
because
field. Yeah.
yeah, I mean to complete the field in the women's 100 meters. And so, and remember also that for Kasarani, it's when it comes to the 100 meters, it's a 9 lane track.
Yeah.
So um, the options would be who do you fill in there, because you would really wouldn't want to have a 12 um, seconds runner, somebody who does more than 12 seconds, uh, checking in to go and compete against 11 flat runners, because just taking a look at the athletes who've been entered, all of them do under 11.2. It's only Monica Safania from Kenya who's got a time of 11:75, and Esther Mbagari. So all the others, I mean, the Kenyans can't match this field, but who do you get in there? So you have to go, talk to the managers, and you also have got to consider what is an athlete looking at um, headed into the 2023 season. It's a world championship here, so you'll see that athletes will tend to focus on some of these events all year round, find a way to balance them at the Continental Tour Gold meetings and also at the Diamond League meetings or any other invitational that is there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, we just have a look at what the Kasarani Stadium looks like and some of the athletes jogging. That was a clip we had from one of our colleagues, Michelle Katami, um, looking at that. So the the female field also has some of the field event as well. So, what are the big stars that arrive in this field, especially in the armor in the shot put women,
Hammer throw women, actually.
amateur women,
Um,
sorry.
yes. World record holder Anita Vlodacek is back, and Anita Vlodacek took part in only 4 events last year, and she got injured in June. That was in May and June. The Kip Keino Classic was her first, so she suffered an injury and was not able to compete. And since June, I mean, after her recovery, the Kip Keino Classic is going to be the first event um, that she participates in this year. She's the world record holder. Last year, she had a 70, I think a 78.06 in Kasarani. So that was a world lead right at the start for Anita
Yeah.
Vlodacek. So it would be good to see her coming in. Um, Janie Kasanovoid, she's got 78 as her throw, and so she's one to look out for. And Bianca Florentina Gelba of Romania. So those are the three that would be looking at when it comes to the women's hammer throw. It's a core event, and it will be running concurrently with the men's 10,000 meters. So you'll get it in the wild feed once it's put.
Yeah, the Warfield. Yeah.
It will be in the later is when it will be broadcast in the wild feed. But it starts at 1100 GMT. That would be to 12 p.m. in Kenya. So that's one of the core events that we shall be taking a look at. And remember, it's all to see if, and it's for the women to really push themselves and see if they can do anything over 74, 75 meters. Nairobi is at altitude. It's at 5,000 feet above sea level. So the air is a little bit thinner, and let's hope we can see some good throws tomorrow.
Yeah. So also let's take a look at the men's field now. So the men's 100 meters is supposed to be a head-to-head clash between Bernard Mayala and Kenneth Bednarek. Um, who's your money on this one?
Now, this is one crazy field. Let's just agree. This is one crazy field. Now, you've got Jerome Blake. This season he's done 10.08. You've got Ferdinand Omanyala. He's got a 10.05. And Kenneth Bednarek has got a 10.02. Brandon Kans was a 10.14. Now, Omanyala is definitely a crowd favorite. He's got this magnetic thing. And earlier this year, he did a sub 10 but in Nairobi, but no wind was indicated. Then when he went down to the ASA Grand Prix, he won it. The conditions were very cold in Pretoria when he went for the Absa Grand Prix series, winning both races. And wind assisted plus 2.3, 9.78 seconds. And today we could see him more, warming up, trying to actually going through his paces in the back straight of the stadium. And you could tell that he's pushing himself a lot. And this comes after he just got back from the USA where he did the 150 meters. So I'm sure this is going to be about sixth race of the season, because he also did a track and field meeting in Nairobi. So I think that was the first event as a Grand Prix 1 and 2. So that makes it 3. Botswana Golden Grand Prix makes it 4. The US 5. Yeah, this is the sixth event of the year. So
Sixth race already here.
Yes, and this is outdoor. So you can see that he's quite busy already. But it's going to be explosive, because I also took a look at Kung Fu Kenny warming up alongside Marvin Bracey Williams, and you could really tell that they are really psyched up for this. For the event, it's going to be the last event of the day, and it's going to keep the crowd in the stadium for that long. I was having a conversation with a journalist, Muturi Mutota, who covered the Daegu World Championships, and he says that when Usain Bolt falls started in Daegu, the stadium became empty. So last year there were cases of there was the story that probably there was a false start, but it was considered to be a faulty start. So
Yeah.
that's how Manyala went on to win the 100 meters last year. But the African record, 9.77. It all depends on the winds. This is the time of the year when it gets pretty cold, it can be wet. So we really don't know. But the weather outlook for tomorrow still looks great. So we expect a very explosive 100-meter event um, at the Kip Keino Classic. That is, I mean, the women's 100, the women's 200, the men's 100. Um, Actually, even the women's 800, they will all be explosive because just taking a look at what they've selected as um, the core events, you've got to the competition is going to be really, really big amongst those athletes.
Yeah, because actually going back to that list now, so you have the 100 meters women, the 3,000 meters steeplechase, the 800 meters women, 200 meters, and then you end up with the 100 meters male final.
Mhm. Yes. So that is the whole exciting thing about it. I mean, and for this stadium, after the first edition, was under COVID restrictions. Um, then we did 2021, 2022, 2023. So everyone is beginning to. It's growing. It's an event that is growing, and because just to put it into context about the kind of financial input that is here, the Kenyan government has put in 2.35 million dollars, and Absa Bank, who've taken title sponsorship, have put in $500,000. So we're talking about $2.85 million being invested in one event. So you really, I mean, for you to deliver on it, then you've got to give the crowd, and it's a huge selling point, especially when it comes to the conversation of athletics and Kenya's well-known um, prowess when it comes to athletics.
Yeah, um, and I know that the Kenya government is also hoping that this becomes a full-fledged demo league event anyway. So which
Yes.
means it can only get bigger from this point.
Yes. Something else. Yes, it is something that they had hoped for last year, but if you take a look at Diamond League, it's um the biggest one-day franchise for World Athletics. And
Mm.
what they have done is that they've selected a particular meetings, and the calendar is known and the events are known. So we've already had Doha done, and but here's the thing that about the Diamond League is that they set your bar high. It's costing 3 million. Let's simply say it's costing $3 million to host Continental to a gold event. $3 million. So you'd imagine what kind of budget you need for you to run a Diamond League event.
A full one. Yeah.
Now, and the good thing about a Continental to a gold event is that you've got some little bit of discretion about how things are managed. The branding will be there. You can pick your sponsors, but with the Diamond League, one that takes the first priority, and the assessment criteria is huge. So there's a lot of deliverables that you've got to do. I would think that if Kenya is to host a Diamond League meeting, the first thing they would do is they would need a new track. Straightforward. World Athletics will come and tell you this is what we want.
Or would that still be at Kasarani, or be another
It would have
stadium
to.
completely?
There are only two stadiums that can host this level of event in Kenya. There is now National Stadium just outside the city center, just out of the city center, and it is that holds 30,000. And if you do the Diamond League, Kasarani is huge. It can do 60,000, but if well managed, can do 50, and you've got no gaps in the stands. So it's those little things that you try and look at, and also, I mean, the event presentation management, that is a huge thing, because you've got to keep to your I mean, these things operate like clockwork.
Yeah.
Working with the farm, and when you just take a look at everything, it's every 30 seconds is catered for. So they will simply take a look at what you're doing at the they will simply take a look at what you're doing at any one moment in time, and they give you a review. So, but for the moment, the thing is for DL status, I think the earliest you probably can get is 2026, because looks like the Diamond
so
League
that's when they would do the next round of selections, isn't it?
of selections around 2026 is for the host cities. So you can see that if you're going to be selected, then you've got to be ready 1 year in advance. I mean, it takes you the moment you're done with your event, you start planning for the next one.
Yeah. So basically, by 2025 edition, they must be ready for that. For the
Yes,
upgrade.
yes, because they'll treat your Continental Tour Gold event as a candidate event for a Diamond League, and they also need to look at other criteria, the financial criteria around, because while the price structure is set for the Diamond League minimum prize fund, I mean it's the prize fund is set. There is an issue of appearance fees, and that is where the unknown cost is.
That's
so
true.
you won't that you want to invite Karsten Warholm, world record holder. How much will you pay? So those are the little questions that people have got to ask.
That need to work on. So let's talk about the men's 200 meters. So that's before the 100, and you have this young field, Aaron Brown and the Joseph Fambule from Liberia. So who's your money on that?
Actually, for this event, the one that I'm looking at Aaron Brown, Kyrie King, and I really would like to see Joseph Fambule, because Joseph Fambule has got some mad acceleration.
Yeah,
His
so
start may not be the
better
best.
suited for the 200 meters because he doesn't really have a quick start, but he's got a very good speed endurance and his finishing. So
because I mean at the Olympics when he finished fourth, no one really, people just wondered, Joseph Fan what? Fan who? So there you are, and just take a look at how powerful he's got. I mean his final 150 is, because the moment he takes off, you simply can't just stop him. And so it's Joseph Fambule and Aaron Brown. So Kyrie King is going to come into personal best of 20. Fambule has done a 19.83. But there is also from Israel. He's done 19.96 once, but there is Blessing Akwasi Afrifa.
Yeah.
So that's a
Ghanaian.
The dark, yes.
There's a Israeli athlete of Ghanaian heritage there.
Yes.
So he's been doing quite well already.
So that's the one person that you really would like, you would want to look out for in this field. But also Filippo Tortu of Italy. Italy is of late. I mean, once we got Marcel Jacobs, that was a shocker for the Olympics. Then here you are, you've got Filippo Tortu, who's already done 20.1 this season. So it's always exciting that when you have these new prospects, everything changes. But Aaron Brown against Joseph Fambule is one that everyone in the stadium should watch. And for most people, I'll simply tell them, start getting used to Fambule, because he's going to get better and better.
Yeah, and also talking about new talent, in the men's 800 meters, you have the former world under 20 champion, Emmanuel Wayoyi. What's your take on him?
Well, it's going to be very interesting in this field. About, for Emmanuel Wanyonyi, he's been working with Janet Jepkosgei, world champion in 2007. That is, Janet is Wanyonyi's coach. So it's to see how well he's developed in his tactic and how he actually operates this. But there are also some names to look out for. Number one, two-time 1,500, world champion in the 1,500 meters, Timothy Cheruiyot, is going to be running in the 800 meters. We saw him test his endurance in Doha with the 3,000 meters. He's going to be running in this, and this is just to see how well he handles his speed. So Timothy Cheruiyot is one to look out for. Commonwealth Games champion Wycliffe Kinyamal. He did a back-to-back win when he won in Birmingham. He's going to be running in that one too. So when you take a look at Wycliffe Kinyamal, then you've got a really good field. Then there is Ferguson Rotich. Ferguson Rotich, Olympic silver medalist. And on the field, he's the one who's run the fastest time. But he's one to really wants to prove that he is up there. The interesting thing is that the Olympic champion in the 800 meters will be doing the 400 meters. That is Emmanuel Korir. So the 800 should light up over the 2 laps because Ferguson, Rotich, Wycliffe Kinyamal, Timothy Cheruiyot, and Emmanuel Wanyonyi will be the ones to look out for. And the other athletes who've come in from other countries, we've got Tshepiso Masalela is from Botswana, and we've got Chepot Chite of South Africa, and you've got Tolesa Bodena from Ethiopia. So those are the 3 who have, and there's Khaled Ben Mahdi from Algeria. So those are the athletes from outside Kenya. But this looks like it's going to be an all Kenyan battle.
Battle in the race,
Yes, and you see, for Emmanuel Wanyonyi, having won last year is something that you'd like to build up on as we head into Budapest 2023.
Yeah. So also for the 1,500 meters, though, the men's 1,500 meters.
Well, this
who are the ones you're looking at?
Well, the men's 1,500 meters. This is a discretionary event. Let me just pick up. Let me just pick this list so I can tell you about this field. One, Adel Mekal of Spain looks on paper to be the strongest athlete in this field. It's very unusual that when you're having a 1,500 meter race, and it's not a Kenyan who looks like a favorite, but Abel Kipsang, Kamare Tiang, that's another one everyone should be looking out for. Those are the 2 we should say they really should be on it. But Adel Mekal of Spain might cause a shock here because everyone's. I mean,
he's having a great season.
He's having a great season, and anyone who's consistently running in the low 330s when it comes to the 1,500 meters, then that is somebody who is way up there, and then that is the kind of, how would I describe it? The kind of how am I losing this? The kind of quality that you would expect. But there's also Reynald Cheruiyot who's coming up, who's supposed to be coming up and filling this. Great to have Kamare Tiang. He had quite some tough challenges getting through the under-20s. That was because of Kenya's status. So, I mean, he didn't meet some criteria. But we should expect him to now come and prove his worth because he was, last year, he was giving a push to all of these big-name athletes. And there's also the veteran Boaz Kiprugut still running, but let's see what he will be offering for us tomorrow.
I actually think the Algerians have a good crop of very crafty runners now in 800 meters and 1,500 meters. The last year at the World Africa Championship in Mauritius, they were really very good Algerian runners. And I think that those guys are athletes to look out for this season. But then we forgot to speak about the 800 meters women. Is Mary Mora running the 800 meters or the 400 meters? And which event do you think is her main strength?
Well, Mary Mora started off as a 400 meter runner, so she's got still that 400 meter pedigree. And for the 800 meters women here, last year when she finished Prudence Sekodiso of South Africa. And for Mora, everyone, it was a little bit of, an anticlimax for Mary Mora. But she is going to be in that battle against Prudence Sekodiso. Prudence Sekodiso wants to prove that our win last year was not a fluke. 200.61. That's the best. That's the season's best for Mary Morad. The 00.59, the best time for Prudence Secodiso. So it's good to see that battle again. Coming up, it will be very interesting to see that battle happen again. Also, we'll would like to see Naomi Korir. What can she do? She's a 2-minute flat runner, and can she drop that? Because for some time, ever since Eunice Sum, you know, took a stepped aside from the 800 meters, there was a huge gap in Kenya. We did not have an 800-meter athlete, who could compete at the global stage and
Yeah.
consistently. And now we have Mary Mora. So that's one for the present and the future that we are looking at.
So, and then we also look at the other Kenyan athletes. Imeta, it's crashed from the 100 meters. Because right now in Kenya, you have a good crop of, you can actually have a very strong 4 by 100 meters relay team now with Odiambo, with Imeta, and then, um, of course, if the other guy also will soon be over with his band and Mike. So you're actually doing it's Kenya putting a lot of money now on sprints.
Well, there's a growing interest of sprints, and let me call it the Omanyala effect.
Okay.
That Omanyala effect, the Olympics, the fact that he made it to the semis and then went on to, you know, set the national record, go under 10 seconds, go under 9.8. He was breaking the world record for fun at one point. Then that is what has affected it. And let me just put it into context. Last year, um, in the I think it was the first track and field meeting in Nairobi. I think it was in February last year. They had 19 hits for the 100 meters because the number of people who showed up and said they could run fast were huge. Those are things you hear of when you go to high school competitions in the US.
Yeah.
So you'd have 30 hits for the sprints. In Kenya, they would go straight to the semis. You've got probably 24 people. So it's 100-meter semis, pick the best two and the other two based on time, and you have a final. But this time round, the heats are taking place. Samuel Imeta has come up very well. The 4x100-meter relay team, they faltered in their baton exchange in Birmingham, but everyone was watching them. And this is after they had won the African Championship. And Kenya has won the 4x4 before, but they hadn't won the 4x1. So the 4x1 gold, and that actually caught the continent, by surprise. So the investment in sprints is there. The case of Samuel Imeta, he's not going to be running. Haven't seen the replacement name yet. He withdrew, reasons not given as yet. But that is the latest that I can give you on Imeta. But with Mark Otieno just about to come back off his ban, I think we should be
Yeah.
we should be seeing some more explosive running.
Yeah. Okay. So the final one we've not looked at is at 5 o'clock. That's the 3,000 steeplechase women. So you have, I mean, that's been a traditional strong event for Kenya. And years after year, you keep producing very good athletes in that. And I know that some of the athletes left for the Gulf countries, but you still have a lot of decent steeplechasers. So
Well,
who and who are, are in the field, and who is likely going to win that?
well, the world record holder Beatrice Chepkoech is in the field.
Okay.
So this season she's done 906.9. And so just looking at this field, Fancy Cherono, one to look out for. Purity Kirui is another. Karen Chebet coming through the junior ranks and to the senior ranks. And Faith Cherotich also coming through the age grade system. So, and they've all gone up there. Now, the question then is, what kind of competition do they expect from outside the country? Um, Ainalem Dest of Ethiopia would come in. Is one of the athletes who's been invited. Tuba Guvench of Turkey is also here. And we're seeing Lily Anna Vindic-Storth of Hungary. She is also going to be running. But this is basically a Kenyan field. And for
Yeah.
Beatrice Chepkoech, everyone would like to see how well she's going to perform, after coming off, after that injury layoff. In what form is she? So that's what everyone would be waiting to see, so that they can really say if she's back to great form.
Yeah, also because she was a bit tentative I think in Botswana as well. So
Yes.
yeah, so it's basically she's easing herself into the season. So we might not see the best of her here, but then maybe uh, by the time the Continental Tour and the Demo League moves to Europe, then you start seeing them pick up for the season.
Yeah.
But to me, I think the 200 meters men and and the 3,000 steeplechase women. I like at the 100 meters men. I like going to be the three main competitive events to look out for. For those that are
Well,
watching at home on TV, they don't want to get up at that time.
yes, because those who are watching, there's that, and also for the discretionary event, there'll be a live stream. NTV will be broadcasting that, and um, the men's 400 meters is one to look out for. I really want to see, because the Bole brothers, Dylan and Kevin, will be running in this, and you've got
Okay.
Samukonga Muzala and Emmanuel Korir, the world champion in the 800 meters. Emmanuel
800
Korir,
meters.
yes, he's actually a 400-meter guy who's been converted into 800.
To
Uh,
800, yeah.
yeah, and in 2018 he came to Kasarani and he ran the third fastest time ever by a Kenyan, and the fastest time at Kasarani. The previous time at Kasarani, the fastest time previously run in Kasarani was by your countryman Innocent Egbunike. That
Yeah,
was in the African Games in '87.
that's a long
So
time
he did
ago.
so he did 44.21, and he looked back and he slowed. He looked back and slowed. I don't know what mark he would have put up in that event, if he just kept going. But it was explosive. Because I remember doing the commentary, and all I could say was, "This clock is just about to be breached." So the national record, 44.18, set by Samson Kitur, still stands almost 30 years on. But we would like to see what kind of, battle is going to be between the Bole brothers, Korir
Musakonga. And
and
also Musakonga has a very different running style. So he just gives everything. He just keeps going. So they will have to
yes,
do a lot of chasing him. And I think that's with a good condition. That's one event that might produce a very good record.
yeah,
Um, who knows? Maybe we'll have. Maybe they will get close to the African record on that point as well.
yeah. Because
But
um, just taking a look at the men's 400 meters, we don't have a meeting record per se as yet, so we'll be looking for that.
for the new
Because
meeting record.
yeah, for a new meet. No, oh wait, the men's meeting record in the 400 meters is 45.51. That one is going.
Yeah. So the African record is 43 by Wayne with Van Niket, right? So yeah, okay. So basically, the the guys on the field are capable of running 43, at least 43 high.
Yeah,
So
43 high. The two, I mean, Emmanuel Korir and some Conga, those ones can do a 43 high. I mean, if Emmanuel Korir slowed down and did 44.21, what if he decides to go full blast? because he also does some very good anchor legs for Kenya. Anytime he does an anchor leg for Kenya in a 4x4, he gains ground a
Right
lot.
for them, yeah. Also,
Yes, he
because
does.
800-meter runner, he has that endurance as well, the speed endurance. So
Yes.
it's very it's an asset to have for the team for relays anyway. Because I also remember that the Intercontinental Cup in Australia, 2018, he also ran in the 4x400 meter for Team Africa.
Yes.
So it's quite experienced in that as well. But for me, just because this is big early in the season, so it's hard to predict because you don't know the condition of the athletes and how much they're ready to put out there at this stage of the season. And but we should people going into the stadium to watch you, should expect a very good, competition. And they definitely, I know the gate fees is free, but it will be worth their time to come, to the stadium because that's an opportunity to see world class athletes, and who knows, many records might just disappear, So I expect them to set a lot of records, and it should be a great, competition. So thank you
Well,
so much,
yeah.
Daniel.
Mhm.
It's been really good 45 minutes to chat with you about this and kind of have an insight into what's going on. And really, I wish we had Elias also to tell us exactly what's the latest regarding the Shakari and the situation.
Okay.
That would be good to hear. Well,
All right.
I'm really, really good for you to join us. Thank you so much. But just to summarize, before we leave, I just want to get your opinion on the state of African athletics. Actually, um, this year has been good because we have two. We're going to have three competitions, World Class competition on African soil. So we have the Continental Tour in Botswana. We have this one also in Kasarani, and then the Demo League is going to be in Rabat as well in Morocco. So we've never had it this good, but these are all organized by the World Athletics and the Demo League. We still don't have our own African organized CAA sponsored world class event on African soil. So this is kind of disappointing, and we need more of this. So, what do you think we can do to increase this competition for our athletes on the continent?
Well, one of the things that we've got to take a look at is think wholly about the opportunities that come with recognized events in Africa, which are at continental level and can help, you know, um, can help raise the profile, especially for those who compete in technical events. Think of the race walk and also opportunities that come with, and for relay teams. The more African athletes compete, I mean, with an African tour, it will be very great. You'll hear about a meeting in Uganda. You'll hear about maybe making of champions in Nigeria, ASA Grand Prix. That is it. That's Athletics South Africa who've organized that, but they still attract um, some very good athletes. So the whole idea is CAA should just look for continental partners and engage athletes. I, I remember when Lamin Diak was president of World Athletics, there used to be a meeting in Dakar. I mean, it didn't have
Yeah,
to.
that's true. That actually
There was
disappeared.
that disappeared, and that was Africa's highest level meeting. I mean,
Yeah,
apart from Rabat, after Rabat, it was Dakar. So, but we need more of them. And we know countries where this can happen. Uh, Botswana has okay, Botswana, Kenya, Morocco, they've done that. What about Ghana? Stepping up. What about
And
Nigeria
Nigeria.
stepping and
I mean, there's none in West Africa right now.
Nigeria stepping up? So those are the ones that people would be looking at. Which would be another interesting place to have a meeting. Maybe Cote d'Ivoire would be to have a meeting out there. But if we've got more of them coming up, then it will be great for a lot of African athletes. Because I mean, when you take a look at how you qualify for the relays at the Worlds, it's simple. You must compete against there must be a minimum of 3 nations competing.
Yeah.
So if you've got your Kenyan outfit, your a Nigerian team, a Ghanaian team, and say as Botswana and South African team athletes, you've got 5 nations, and that means the more you compete, the better you get at it, and the better times you set. So if you're in the top 16 in the world, then you have slots at world championships, and where in the year when you don't have a world relays, either way, being in the top 16 helps a lot, and that's what Africa needs.
And I
CAA
think this
needs
is
to step up in
also,
this.
like what you said, is also the reason why African countries always have problem qualifying in the relay events at the Olympics and World Championships, because we don't have enough competition for the athletes to run together and to practice. So the Europeans, and I think this is also a good advice for the organizers of the Continental Tour in Nairobi as well, to include 4x1 and 4x4 relays into the program. So to allow a lot of African countries to also try to run and qualify here on this, in this event. Because when you say Lausanne, when you say Zurich, Oslo, they always find a way to include the relays, and that helps a lot of European teams to qualify, for the major championships. We just have the African championships, and that's all. And if there's no war relays, and then our athletes start going to Europe or to the US to try and qualify, I think we can do that early by just including some of these one-day meets, whether in Botswana or in Kenya. That's already 2 competition early in the season. You can get the qualification out of the way, and then plan for the rest of the for the season. So, time is gone. We'll do this again in 2 weeks. So thank you so much, Daniel. And I guess the next now is May 28th in Rabat for the Demo League. We'll try to do another preview of that and look at what to expect in Rabat. So thank you so much, and have a lovely weekend. All right, cheers. And for those watching, please,
All right, thank you very much for having me, Yomi.
My pleasure. Thank you so much. So that's it for the show, for the preview show on this edition of Athletics 360 podcast for the Continental Tour Kip Keino Classics in Nairobi, Kenya tomorrow. Starts, I think, on the international broadcast start on, I think, from 4 p.m. If you're in Europe, and I think around 5 p.m. if you're in Africa, especially West African time. So join us again in 2 weeks when we come for the Demo League event in Rabat, Morocco. We'll do another preview. Thank you so much. And please subscribe to this channel, and please like the channel before you leave our stream, so that helps to push our channel up the YouTube rankings. Thank you so much. See you in 2 weeks. Bye.